Okay, so as I said previously, I'd get into like these states of anxiety in like the immediate period before going to that restaurant to eat again on a Friday evening. And I will, even though I receive signs, etc., I'd still get anxious in that immediate period beforehand. And I wouldn't always wait at that park around the corner. Um, I would sometimes just come and just pause and hang out in sort of the area nearby. And what I found happened continually, not just during the period immediately before thinking about eating at the restaurant again on a Friday, but also at other times, is I would repeatedly see tiger symbols that would give me like a boost of confidence to then proceed with whatever I was doing, and it would resonate. The timing would be resonant, and it would be via varied means. So on one occasion I was waiting on this street here, and a guy crossed the road at the time that I was feeling pondering what to do, wearing a tiger on the front of his shirt. It's also like would be on stickers on cars that would pass. And then on one early morning, I was just doing some research in the area, and right in the proximity of that restaurant, I actually found this actual tiger. And it just repeatedly happened, like in the proximity of that restaurant, around the time that I would be thinking about whether I was going to eat there. But this wasn't the only like toy animal that I found at resonant times. So these symbols would appear via varied means. It wouldn't just be the continual one form of it. So yeah. So I would still go for bushwalks down by the creek. I still do. After that period, that intensive period of deep rock. And so one morning I came and I walked down towards this place called the Quarries. I guess the skate park's called the Quarries. The skate park's at the top of this hill, but there's also this beautiful like part of the creek around and below it as well. And so I walked from home down that street there. I was walking across that side of the street, and symbolism was very potent at that time, and it has been post-September. Symbols, numbers, synchronicities, all of it has continued to be potent, and and feathers, it's intensified over time, but it was particularly striking during that early period because of the shift post September 14, 2018. And so I looked across the road, and that symbol above the house there strongly resonated with me. So it's a forward slash, so a slash slanting right, in the right hand direction, kind of like northeast. So I don't know if that's reversed for you as the viewer, but yeah. So I then proceeded to walk further down that street towards the creek. After that symbol really stood out to me, and it stayed with me for the whole time that I was walking down. Okay, so after I saw that symbol on the top of that house, I kept walking down the street towards this, towards the creek here, another part of the creek that's a bit up from Deep Rock, and went for my bushwalk early in the morning. And then coming back out of the creek area, I came back up the same street that I came down, and literally about there I crossed paths at the exact time with exact timing with a jogger who I'd never seen before, and because I'd been going so much down to Deep Rock, rarely came down this way, and came down more this way subsequent to that, who was wearing a cap with that same symbol on the front of it. I'd never seen that cap or design before, So yeah, the forward slash and nothing else. That's all that was on the cabinet. So I stopped him and I asked him what it was the logo of, and he said of a college. It's actually an arts college that's in the area. And so I looked it up on the internet afterward, and it's one of their older designs. But yeah, that happened like literally maybe 40 minutes after I passed the house. So the morning I saw that forward slash symbol had those, I guess, synchronicities in the morning. That was a Friday, so there was there would have been a sign later that day or in the evening for me to eat at the place where I had that experience on September 14. And then I'm just kind of just doing my own thing, minding my own business. And then I look across the road out the window, because I was sitting at the window without any intention. And I see this building here, which had a whole like heap of forward slash symbols. Now, if that's reversed for you, they are the same symbol. So, yes, and then I relayed that to someone who was working at the restaurant, who then helped me with the brand. So in early December, just over a couple of months after September 14, my friend who I went to uni with a really long time ago, and then helped out with some Wikipedia stuff while I was in Bangkok, was having a showing of her documentary that she got a lot of exposure for and was really successful with, but I hadn't seen it since its launch. But I'd written stuff about it on Wikipedia, and I'd discussed it with her online and seen a lot of the promo and stuff like that. And but finally an opportunity came up to see it just in an area a bit further north from where I lived. And at that time, like, as I've kind of established, really, symbols and numbers and synchronicities were very potent. And so when I came up here, I had a bit of time to kill before the film started. And there was just a particular energy about this area, and I was very much going with my intuitive sense at the time, as I'd done since arriving back in Melbourne. And just was led a bit further south of the venue. And so there was further graffiti, like the image of the woman there, which is a beautiful image. It's it's a respectful depiction, and the colours are great and the detail. And then images like another snake, serpent type image there. Then more feminine images of women that are powerful. And then this elephant and another bird and the Ganesha image. So I've talked about this in an Instagram story, but the Ganesha image was especially resonant because of the experience that I had with the acid that was on a digital design of Ganesha, and sort of the significance of the story that I was told about Ganesha, where the son of Shiva, I think it is, excuse me if I get this wrong for anyone who's of the Hindu religion or anything, who has any interest in this, but the story I was told when I was given that acid is that Ganesha, his father Shiva went away for war or something like that, and then he happened to be lying in bed with his mother upon Shiva's return. Shiva thought that he was like that his wife was having an affair, and chopped off the head of his son accidentally, and then he obtained the head of an elephant. But there's definitely more to it than that. But also, you'll see in the next clip, the significance of Ganesha in regards to synchronicities. And so it was, it was just a further reaffirmation of what I'd been experiencing. Even though it's just, people would walk past us every day and not think too much of it. For me, it was just a further reaffirmation of that, and also a reaffirmation of the vitality of street art. So after seeing my friend's documentary in a suburb further north of where I live, I think I did a little bit more wandering, caught the train back, and then came and sat down on this balcony. And it was similar to today in terms of weather, rain intermittently appearing. And I can't remember what I was doing. I was just had my head down, just pondering stuff, or I don't know. I didn't have a smartphone at that point. No, definitely not. But I might have been just checking some photos and stuff, because it still has a camera, that shitty phone. And looked up, and right in that direction, right there, was a double rainbow. I kid you not. And it was especially resonant because of all the symbolism that I'd seen during the day, and then this incredibly uplifting, meaningful experience that I had when watching the documentary. Also, during the question and answer session for the documentary, my friend mentioned a few things that were resonant, including like having conversations with people who are in the documentary about Taylor Swift. And so Taylor Swift was has been a continuing theme and continues to be during this period, and especially it's been continual, but it's intensified somewhat, I guess, post September 14. But yeah, I'd never seen a double rainbow before in my life, have not seen one subsequent, and had only read about them. I remember this headline that came up, some guy in America who was kind of getting a lot of, it went viral, I think. It was getting a lot of press for it. So and then that led me to like investigate the meaning and so forth. So in terms of the symbolism that has become resonant with me, I don't go seeking them out. They just I happen to be in a particular position, or we'll see it through circumstance, and then there'll be a strong resonance, and I know intuitively that it will be meaningful to me. And so at the end of a day, I was walking back home, and this sticker caught my eye here. And prior to that time, I don't recall a bat symbol standing out. But when I encountered this sticker, I knew that it would be meaningful, and then I ventured home. Okay, so after seeing that bat sticker and having it strongly resonate just a little bit up the street, I came back and sat on the balcony, and it was the strangest thing. It must have been like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, bats just started flying across the sky from around that point on, and it was literally a blanket of bats that flew across here over that way. So from east to west, I guess. But the thing is, yes, bats, are seen a lot of the time here in Melbourne, but I'd never seen them fly over in large numbers before on this balcony, regardless of time. And I'd never seen them fly in that large a number anywhere in Melbourne in the whole time, in 20 plus years in Melbourne. And it lasted for a good 20 minutes, possibly longer. Oh, there's a friend that I told it to straight after it happened, who works at that restaurant, in fact,
and she might remember the exact time, but it was definitely around 20 minutes. It was such a prolonged duration. And the thing was, the sky was full of bats. Like, that entire sky was just full of bats. And it happened like so soon after seeing that sticker. And at that time, it was especially resonant. As you can imagine, if you've watched this vlog. Okay, so on the morning of the launch of Inward Markings, I felt compelled to come up here and just see the city view for some reason. There was probably other corresponding stuff, but it just felt like an important thing to do. And I discovered a toy killer whale right there. And I've just noticed walking down here that 2 double 13s are the building numbers directly behind me. And so that's also especially resonant, but I didn't notice at the time, which I'm noticing these numbers as I'm doing the filming. And that then led me to look up on my phone like the meaning of that animal symbol. And from memory, it's something to do with like family and the coming together of, I guess, kindred people. So yeah, that gave me confidence to just proceed with the day.